Dozens were hoping to leave today, but will have to wait a bit longer. The Rafah crossing was closed for what the U.S. State Department called a certain security circumstance. It's a major setback to anyone hoping to leave Gaza, including Canadians who gathered at the Rafah border crossing today. This man spoke to CBC News before finding out he would not be able to leave.
I'm happy and I'm not happy, I'm happy because I'm living with my family alive. I'm not happy because everything destroyed in our home and in Gaza. Gaza is now, it's not a place for living,
The crowd that gathered on the Gaza side of the crossing today was bigger than we've seen over the last few days. The names of 40 Canadians and their families were on a list released by Gaza's border authority today that approved them to leave. There are about 500 Canadians, permanent residents, and family members asking for help to get out of Gaza.
My kids did not understand anything, and I cannot explain what is it to them. They're born in Canada, they lived in Canada, they don't know what's war mean. They're 5 and 7. So I started to tell them, it's a thunderstorm, Mama. They understand what is a thunderstorm.
That woman's name is Rana Nasrawi. She is one of about 75 Canadians, permanent residents and family members who escaped Gaza yesterday. Rana lives in Mississauga, Ontario, and arrived in Gaza to visit her sister and parents on October 3rd, just days before the war began. Buses arranged by Canadian officials took her and other evacuees to Cairo. They're now staying at a hotel next to Canada's embassy in the Egyptian capital. And the CBC's Tom Perry is following developments from Cairo. He has more on what happened to the Canadians who are hoping to leave Gaza today.
Well, really, we don't. We do know that there were 40 Canadians on that list to leave today. We saw some of them arriving at the Gaza side of the Rafah crossing. I don't know whether they would have stuck around there tonight or if they would have gone back and hoped to come back tomorrow. In speaking to Canadian officials, I guess the word is we'll have to wait and see what happens. We saw the Rafah crossing close for 2 days over the weekend. Now we're seeing it close again. It just speaks to how fluid and unpredictable and all those other words we've been hearing about the situation here, how fluid the situation is, how things can change very, very quickly. So bottom line is you've got these 40 Canadians who thought today was their day. Turns out it's not. They'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out if the crossing has reopened, whether they can get through at that point to join the 75 who've come through over the past 24 hours, who've made their way here to Cairo to try to start their journey back home to Canada or to wherever they're going after finally getting out of Gaza.
And Tom, you have been speaking to Canadians who were able to exit Gaza and are now in Cairo. So what are you hearing from them?
Well, what we're hearing is a sense of, in one sense, relief. Obviously, they're happy to be out of Gaza. They're happy to be out of danger, but they, of course, express regret for everything they've left behind, whether that's your parents or whether that's family or whether that's friends. They also talk about just the destruction, just the devastation, just what they've lost in this war between Hamas and Israel. I spoke to one fella, him and his wife, Mohammed and his wife, and they were just talking about really all that they've lost, and I'll let you listen to what they have to say.
In a day, I lost everything that I own. My house, my parents' house even, I lost it. My cars got destroyed completely. I can even show you some pictures of it. My business, my office assistant, he got killed.
So sad because I leave my family there in Gaza. Happy because I take my daughter from war. It's complicated. Leaving my family, my house, my friends there in the war and bombing, and now I'm safe. My daughters are safe. There's my life there.
And so that's just really one of the stories that we were hearing today. You know, we spoke to a woman who was there, who went to Gaza with her kids to go visit relatives when the war broke out. She ended up being stranded there. And her husband, she got out in these busloads that came out. her husband was so happy. We were so worried about her before. He was so happy today that he bought her and the kids tickets home to Canada tonight. So they're getting out of here tonight. For a lot of other people getting out of Gaza, it's not quite as simple. They've lost businesses. They're really left with effectively nothing. And so they've got to decide. The Egyptian government's giving them 72 hours to, get their affairs in order and move on. And that's why you've seen today at the Canadian Embassy, you've got diplomats, diplomatic staff trying to help people fill out visa forms, other things they need to do to just try and figure out what they're going to do next, because a lot of people don't know what it is they're going to be doing next.
Yeah, 72 hours, certainly not a long time. So, Tom, what comes next for the Canadians who've been able to exit Gaza?
Well, as I say, 72 hours, they've got to figure things out. You've got some people who are going to be getting out tonight. You've got some people, I was speaking to some that they've got family in Abu Dhabi. They might be going there. So some will be going back to Canada. Some will be going off to other places. It really just depends on where they've got family, where they've got a support network to go to. And that's really the question for them right now. And of course, the question for the people on the other side of that border is, when can they get through? We're still waiting to see what's going to happen at the border, when it's going to reopen. As I said, we had 2 days of closures over the weekend. We'll see how long it is this time. But again, fluid situation. No one really knows what to expect.
The CBC's Tom Perry in Cairo. Earlier this afternoon, White House spokesperson John Kirby updated reporters on America's efforts to get its citizens out of Gaza and humanitarian trucks in. Kirby also spoke about what governance of Gaza could look like after the war.
Over the last 24 hours, more than 80 more trucks carrying humanitarian aid was able to enter Gaza. That brings the total to 650. Again, not enough. We're going to continue to work to push that. And as of now, we're aware of more than 400 Americans and family members who have been able to depart. We want to make sure that Gaza and the West Bank are for the Palestinian people, and that they have a vote, they have a voice, that they get to be the determining factor in what governance looks like, where they're living in their homes. And that remains our policy, and will going forward. Now, what exactly does that governance structure look like, and when does it get put in place, and who are the players that are going to help adapt that? All that we're working out.
Kirby also said the U.S. is raising the benefits of humanitarian pauses with Israeli officials in every discussion they have. He said the U.S. believes the small pauses, which have already happened, can pave the way for more.